Welcome back, everyone, to SmaxTalk. This is going to be the last episode of SmaxTalk, unfortunately, for the fall split of Phoenix Rising League. My name is Sam Heid, and I'm joined again by Alex Slothking Martinez. How are you doing again this fine afternoon?
Oh man, we are finally right around the corner from playoffs, and we get to talk about the teams today. I'm super excited about the first matches that we're going to see of the playoffs.
Yeah, for sure. We've got all the second seeds, all the third seeds coming in head to head in their matches this week, and I could not be more excited to get into that. Starting up on Thursday as well. The action is not going to be halted anytime soon. We've got the off day tomorrow, Wednesday, but after that, we're getting right into it. But before we talk about the playoffs, we do have some announcements for everyone regarding the splits that are beginning in January. We've got, of course, the Phoenix Rising League winter split that will start up. If you haven't already, the signups are open and available for that if you want to get your team back in for Phoenix Rising League. Some teams that are maybe already knocked out and looking for something to do moving forward. You got to get ready on the PBE patch that is about to drop tomorrow and get into that. But also, we have another league beginning in January as well, and it's going to be called the Phoenix Rising Odyssey League, or if you like the acronym, the Pro League. Pretty good. Pretty good naming there by Canadian. But that one's going to be Diamond 2 and above in the Phoenix Rising organization still, and that one is going to be Monday through Wednesday nights. During the same weeks as the Phoenix Rising League as well, and that's going to be our first split starting up in January. So if you are a Diamond 2 and above player and you want to be on a team like that, or if you have a team that is that rank and you want to get into the Phoenix Rising, but you're too high rated to get into the Phoenix Rising League, this is the time for you. You definitely want to sign up for that. We've already got teams on the wait list, I guess. I can't get into the too many details as more will come when we get closer to the day. It's only November, so it's going to be in about 2 months, but stay tuned for that. And also, we've got another announcement from Sloth King here.
Yeah, super exciting. So we have been invited to an invitational, and it's going to be huge. Uh, we have 8 teams that are going to be playing in an LEC playoff style tournament, and 2 are going to be from major leagues such as the UPL and the big league. And we'll have one from the minor league, OEL, Ryzen, and from our own league, PRL. And this is going to be winners of the Pro League. So if you have not signed up and you are interested, this is going to be an amazing opportunity to get your face out there and show that your team is the best. We are going to have 2 invitationals per year, but with that, we're going to have more information later on when we get farther into the Pro League. So stay up to date with everything. I'm sure in announcements we'll have all the information for you guys.
Yeah, if you want more information on that, it is in the 2020 scheduled dates text channel. Canadian did put a link in there for all of the information in terms of dates in the upcoming year. It's going to be a big one for Phoenix Rising, guys. You do not want to miss it. You want to sign up as soon as possible if you are interested, like we just said. But that's enough with 2020. We got to get to 2019 here. We
Yes.
got our playoffs getting started for Phoenix Rising League, and if you guys haven't already seen it, there will be a spreadsheet in the roster doc. Where it has all of the term information. I'll likely put a link down in the description of the video as well if you haven't, or if you want to have it more convenient while in one spot, it'll be down there so you can see the bracket of everything if you haven't already. But getting into it, we've got Dawn Revenant versus Sicko Saiyans. That one's going to be on Thursday. We've got on Friday Alarian Gaming Black versus Asian Invasion. On Saturday, we've got Zephyr Esports versus Famous Gaming. And on Sunday, we've got Akuma Blades versus Essentia Storm. And all of these are going to be best of 5 as well. Super, super hype.
Yeah, some of the stories for these third seed teams just making the climb. It's super exciting to see everyone who made it, and it's time to put the money down because these teams are about to battle it out come Thursday.
Yeah, It's gonna be a great week, and of course, next week we do have a week off for the playoffs, so there is going to be a little bit of a gap between the first round and the second round, where the first seed teams are going to come into play, which will be Team Fish Taco. We've got SPK Embers, we've got Recon 5, and we've got Go Next Gaming waiting for their turn. They're going to have to wait for 2 whole weeks because we do have that American Thanksgiving break. But we don't have to wait too much longer before we get into the Dawn Revenant Sicko Saiyans match, and this one is going to be a juicy one. Both of these teams actually, I believe, had the same record going into it. Let me actually fact check this. I believe both teams had 5 losses and 9 wins. Yeah, it actually does look that way, which is really exciting here. They both had the same record, just in different divisions. So Sicko Saiyans coming in third seed and Dawn Revenant in second.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see these two teams play. I think they have a pretty similar play style as well. So I'd like to see how they clash going into it and who's going to get that early advantage.
Yeah, I said it on the stream yesterday during the TFT Invitational, but I think that this is likely to be one of the closest ones, closest best of
Definitely.
fives that we see. It might go maybe all 5 games. We'll have to see. Is it if there is that possibility of having 5 whole PRL games in a single night, which we've only had once, I believe, this split because of makeup game. But being at best of fives, we have to get into how we think these teams are going to duke it out in that style of play, because up until this point, we've only seen best of ones.
Yeah. So we're actually going to take some teams. I'm going to have you do Don Revenant's win conditions, and then I'll go over Sicko Sands win conditions.
Yeah, and we obviously don't know the teams incredibly well. We don't know what's going on in their minds, so obviously they can have different strategies. We're not trying to set their strategies in place ourselves, but we're just gonna, do what analysts do and
Yeah,
analyze.
tell them what we've seen from their gameplay, what they can do to defeat the other team, and what are important things to look for in their matches.
Yeah. And for Dawn Revenant, it basically all comes down to the guy that we both put on our top 20 lists from this team, Orakra. Their
Of
jungler is
course.
super good for this team, Dawn Revenant. And I think a lot of how they end up winning games is through his pressure in both just his counter ganks especially, but also his team fights where he is super solid at disrupting the backline and making it so they are not dealing as much damage as they probably could. Arakra is very good at every stage of the game, and I think he's going to be like super important in this matchup. And up against Nightmare, he's going to have his work cut out for him as well. It's going to be a good one. I'm really excited to see if he can manage to out jungle Nightmare. And get in there and make those same team fights happen, whether it be on this Nocturne, his Gragas, or some other pick that we haven't seen a lot from Arakra. But they've got a super solid top lane as a top side as well. So they have a lot of avenues to go through, but it really just comes down to where Arakra can be and if his champion pool is deeper than what we've seen so far. Because of course it is a best of 5. We likely will be seeing more champions than just 1 or 2.
Yeah. And so for my win conditions for Sicko Sands, I think it starts in the draft phase. I think they need to kind of counteract what Orakra can do in the jungle by taking away some of his priority picks and then prioritizing themselves in the jungle for early game to counteract his fast paced early game style. I think their jungler is one of the biggest problems on the team of Don Revenant. They're super good just because of that player, and if you can shut him down early, you might have a chance to spike out in your games. Another thing I would do is kind of play to your top side. We've seen them play to their top side, Don Revenant, multiple times. So I'd like to see you make sure you stay focused on your top side. I think I'm a rule book is always a solid top laner. So if you can play around him and get him an early lead, that's gonna be great. But in general, it's more of just use your early game lead that you take away in that draft phase and you try and prioritize. use that to influence the map, and then set up macro if you guys are having trouble transitioning into your mid game.
Yeah, I think for Sicko Sands, it's going to be a lot on if they can get big enough lane advantages from I'm a Rulebook and I'm a Babe. I think honestly the bot lane is going to be pretty close, but I think I'd probably say that I favor uh, Dawn Revenant with Barlane and Double B.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes down to the team fights, I think they're both really, really solid. Of course, they look really, really good when they have a rocker on their team. But
Yeah, and I think that's a big reason I told him, stay topside because with that losing bot lane, if they even play a more defensive bot lane and can just keep pressuring top, we can see a huge advantage come out of there where you can set up TP plays or you can set up a 1-3-1 or just a 4-1 and then have a very strong, solid macro game.
yeah, for sure. I think I'm a Rulebook and I'm a Babe are going to be pretty threatening for this team. Of course, they've got Lunar Lynx, who is kind of that chameleon in the mid lane for Dawn Revenant. He plays a bunch of different champions,
Yeah.
all very well too. But I think that I'm a Babe is a little bit more refined as far as the lane phase goes. So I would say that the mid and probably the same thing goes for top. Again, Hubris is pretty solid. We've seen him play the Pantheon to pretty good success as well, which is something that we haven't really seen from a lot of teams. Really show dominance in the Pantheon pick. I think they have that going for them as well as Hubris.
A,
Just
a lot a lot of aggressive picks.
yeah,
We know he can play a lot of aggressive picks and it's going to be interesting to see how that top side plays out with pressure because if either one picks because I'm a rulebook known to also play some pretty aggressive top laners as well for the
yeah.
early game, and whichever one can kind of win out that lane is going to control the game on that side of the map.
Yeah, and I'm just really really excited to see how the junglers duke it out. Like we both mentioned it a little bit. Nightmare has been super super good for Sicko Sands. Of course, he does have those two lanes that look really really solid. But or Arakra, we both agree is the best Dawn Revenant performer as well. So that's going to be super super exciting to look out for how these two
Yeah.
junglers do adapt to the new jungle in the PBE as or not the PB, the new patch is going live before their match does begin. Hopefully, these junglers are going to be well prepared for this new patch where the jungle experience in gold is shaken up a little bit, and there's a lot more priority on the Drakes. So, like with jungle being the most shaken up role, it's going to be on these two players, Arakra and Nightmare, to really figure that stuff out and adapt very quickly. So, I'm really
Yeah, but
excited to see if they can do that.
on the flip side, with a double Rift Herald, you could always trade that dragon power for more instant gold.
It's true.
And I think if you control the top side enough, you can get both of the Rift Heralds with with maybe some contest, but that might just even increase your gold lead right there.
Yeah.
And then pick up that easy gold for turret plates are still going to be around, which
Yep.
is super strong. First Tower of Blood is still going to be around, which gives so much gold, and we know how that impacts the map alone.
Yeah.
So and then for the jungle, we can still stick to what we know best. They didn't change anything about wards. You can always track the jungler, and I think that's what's going to determine how these games go. Can they track Arakra well enough, or are they going to fail at that? And he's just going to be everywhere for the team Don Remnant.
Yeah. I'm just really really excited to see not only these two teams but also on the new patch because the Drakes just look really really fun to mess around with and everything. And I think that these two junglers are going to be some of the best at doing exactly that. So, but yeah. Without further ado, I think it would actually make more sense if we did the prediction of this series and then
Yeah, you want to do
we did it
predictions
one
right
by
now?
one.
I'm
I
totally
think
down with
I think
that.
we should do that. Do you want me to go first?
Sure, you can
Okay.
go first if you want.
Okay. This is kind of tough because
Yeah, it is tough.
I think that this is
I think this is going to be the first best of five of all 5 games being played right here.
it's also just the first best of five,
No,
which is pretty
yeah,
funny.
that's not really what I meant. Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
be the first one where we're going to see five
yeah. I
games.
I think it is going to go 5 games. I think you're right. Um, I I think that Dawn Revenant is on the weaker side, the weaker half, I would say, of the second seeds, because you've got Zephyr and Akuma,
Hmm.
who I still think are really really strong going into the playoffs, and I think
Yeah.
they're pretty good contenders to win the whole thing. I think Dawn Revenant is on the weak end, and I think that Seiko Saiyans is on the tougher end as well of the third seeds, up there with Asian Invasion. I think those are the top two. Um, so this is a really really close matchup between Dawn Revenant and Seiko Sands, and that yeah, I think it is gonna go 5 games. Hmm,
Let's hear it, Smax. Come on, man.
I'm gonna
You got
go
this.
I'm gonna go Dawn Revenant 3-2.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna take it. I think Arakra is a knockout performer, and I think that he's shown a lot of prominence on different champions. We've seen his Nocturne, I think, is the best in the league, and his Gragas is right up there with Prappa as well, who is also from his own division. So iron sharpens iron there. They've played jungle against each other, and I think that Arakra is super solid. And yeah, I think especially the thing that I think is going to be kind of a dark horse in this matchup is Lunar Lynx. He's been playing a lot of different champions, and I think that's a very good trait to have going into a completely new preseason patch. And I think that he actually might end up looking better than I'm a Babe in the mid lane role as a whole going into this tournament, which is super super exciting. I think that Dawn Revenant is definitely a team to watch out for, especially considering they did go 7-0 undefeated in the second round robin in the Mind division. Uh, I think they're going to take it, but I think it's going to be really really close.
So I actually am gonna go with Sicko Sans 3-2.
3-2 as well.
And the reason behind this is one, they lived in the life division. Uh, and life in the life division was not easy.
Nope.
And I think any team can agree that that was just so much stress. But we're looking at two giant killers here, and that's why I think it's going to go to 5 games. Because Don Revenant are the giant killers. Sicko Sands are also the giant killers. They've taken down their top seeds.
It's true.
Or I guess, well, Akuma Blades didn't turn out to be their top seeds, but they did take them out to take away that top seed from them and secure themselves third. And I think it's just because Sicko Sands, even though they're not the best at closing out games, uh, I don't think Don Revenant is either. So I don't feel like either one has that factor. And I think Sicko Sands have done a better job of playing in the early game against these more aggressive teams. So for me, Sicko Sands have that edge.
All right. I think we both agree this is going to be the closest
It's
one
gonna
of the
be
four.
ridiculous. I wouldn't be shocked if Don Revenant took it. I wouldn't be shocked to see.
Yeah,
I mean,
I wouldn't either. I think they're
it's
each going to
crazy.
take games. Obviously, from our prediction, I think that they're both going to take at least 2 games, and you agree. So I think this is going to be super, super
Oh, we got
exciting.
another juicy one coming up next.
Yeah, the next one is also very, very close. It's a very similar situation too. Are we gonna move on from Don Revan and Sicko Saiyans?
I think we're good. We got our,
Okay.
our win conditions. We got our predictions. We can move on to the next game.
All right. So for this one, we've got Illyrian Gaming Black versus Asian Invasion. And
Oh,
if you guys are regulars on the Plays podcast and now Smax Talk as well, you know that both Alex and I are big Asian Invasion fanboys, I guess. We like this
we
team.
watch them grow.
Yeah,
They're like our children.
yeah. I'm a lot of props to Illyrian Gaming Black though. They are really really solid. They did make it out second seed in the body division. Who I think the general consensus is that the body division has been the weakest overall, but Illyrian Gaming Black did come up with some pretty big performances, specifically from Atlas, their jungler. I think that Atlas has been very, very solid in the jungle. We just have a lot of good junglers in PRL as a
Yeah,
whole.
it's crazy.
But
Maybe people understand why our lists are the way they are.
yeah, I also think that I think that Illyrian Gaming Black has the best support in their division too. Hook the ADC has been really, really good. Um, I uh, I'm gonna continue to hold this against them for as long as they live. This was the team to break out the Zillion top lane, uh,
Yeah.
which I don't think they're going to
And
do
we
it
got the
yet.
behind the scenes. Do you want to hear the behind the scenes on that, Smax? I don't know if you ever heard.
Is it? It was that their draft
Yeah,
person
their
wasn't
draft
quite there.
coach
Yeah.
had a call as
Yeah.
soon as they were about to pick,
And then they
and
picked
he came
Zillion.
back and saw Zillion top, and he's like, "Guys, what happened?"
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
so.
So it wasn't intentional
Either
fully.
either whether whichever one of us has that team, first win condition,
Yeah.
don't yeah, turn off your phone.
Um, I think we're alternating, right? So that would be you. So
Yeah,
you can
so
go into that for
I
Illyrian
will
Gaming.
have Alarian Gaming Black as my team. And for Alarian Gaming Black, first of all, don't play Zillion top.
Yep.
That's your first win condition.
Hmm.
I think honestly, you guys have a great. I think they have a great matchup here. Because I think Atlas as a jungler has shown so much strength. So playing around Atlas's strong comfort picks is going to be very important. Try and prioritize those.
Especially on the new patch.
Getting Sheeta on something where he can also help Atlas early game and help him control the map. If they work as a duo, I think that it's going to be super possible to get an early game advantage against Asian Invasion. So jungle mid synergy, super important, especially when you're talking about going up against Klexo. That guy is a monster.
Yeah.
So don't expect, I would actually not worry about getting kills in that lane and spread it towards bot or top because I feel like that's where you're going to get more advantage. Uh, and honestly, with their bot lane, Krauzide and Hook the ADC, if you give them something solid, they always try and pick up the Nautilus. And sometimes we'll see the Caitlyn. Krauzide plays a lot of different champs, so
Yeah.
getting him, I would secondary prioritize that because I think you guys have a pretty strong bot lane, and if you guys can get them on something they're comfortable on, maybe not like super 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 prioritized. I think they'll be okay down there, and you can use that mid jungle synergy to roam around the map and get a lot of pressure for these other lanes.
Yeah. Something that I think is really interesting about both of these two teams is that they both have a lethality assassin comfort pick that is a must ban against them. You got Sheeta's Zed and you've got Doubtful's Rengar.
Yeah.
Um, and both of these guys are menaces on these champions, and both are getting new items to play around with. We're getting the Umbral Glaive and we're getting the other one, the
Oh
bladed
yeah, I know
something.
all about that one.
I don't remember what the other one's called, but it's the one that gives you more attack speed. Here, I guess I can cheat and look at the items here. Lethality items. It's called Sanguine Blade. That's the split push one. I don't know if Zed or Rengar would like that one, but they definitely like the Umbral Glaive. It's essentially how I put it is since it's so cheap, it's only 2,400 gold. It's essentially the proto belt of lethality AD
Hmm.
champions because you're getting it super super early. You get a giant power spike. It
Getting a
also
head
gives you
start.
cooldown reduction for no reason. I don't know why they did that, but it gives you like 50 AD cooldown reduction and it gives you 12 lethality
Yeah, it's
and it
crazy.
gives you the lights out for the ward clearing too. So it's just a super solid item, and I
So did
think
they replace that with Dustblade?
Dustblade still
Or
exists, but it doesn't
Dustblade
it doesn't
still
have the
exists, it's
blackout.
just separate.
It
Oh,
doesn't
it
have
took
the
away from
blackout
that.
anymore. Um,
Gotcha. Okay.
but yeah,
I think that's fair.
both of these teams have a player who likes to build lethality on their assassins, and
Well, I can assume that both of these people will not get their prioritized
probably
picks
not.
on the Zed or the Rengar, but
Yeah,
we shall see. Maybe some teams have something to counter it. We don't know.
maybe.
Possible. So,
Some
what are Asian Invasion's win conditions?
well, I said it. I said it with Dawn Revenant. Their jungler is super good. Again with Asian Invasion, they have a super solid jungler. Doubtful is incredible. We've been seeing him in these last few games just completely mop the floor with people, which it was particularly big in week 7. Week 6 was a bit of a rough week for this team, and I think a lot of that is due to the fact that Asian Invasion had specifically in their game against Recon 5, they didn't quite have the lane priority that they usually do, especially for Klexo. He was on the Galio into Aatrox, and I think moving forward, if you, as Asian Invasion, put more focus on playing through your mid jungle, Klexo and Doubtful will carry games. They are really, really star performers at every single stage of the game. Of course, we're big fans of Klexo with his that crazy shuriken flip. That's one of the best plays that
Oh, the
that happened.
shuriken
Oh man,
flip, man.
but his team fights on Akali are actually really, really crazy
His
too.
positioning's crazy good.
Yeah, Klexo and Doubtful are knockout performers for Asian Invasion. They are going to be their hard carries a lot of the time, and it's really cool how that matches up with Sheeta and Atlas too, because I think that they are also very solid as a mid jungle as well. So I think that this is a really, really cool matchup for Asian Invasion to get into and try to explore. Um, One thing that I think they will need to watch out for is if Hook the ADC and Kairazai do get a bot lane advantage, then that will be rough for them. So I think that Legendary and Forbidden do need to mitigate their losses and probably
Totally
accept.
agree.
Yeah, they probably need to accept that Doubtful and Klexo are the pressure points. And I think if that is true in the draft as well, and Legendary and Doubtful play around that pressure valve, where if Doubtful and Klexo come down and help them out, then they can go aggressive and they can play around their superstar mid jungle. Um, not the Legendary and Forbidden are necessarily bad, but I think that Kairazide and Hook the ADC are very good at pressuring bot lane and getting a lot of kills, especially if Hook the ADC is on his signature Nautilus.
Mhm.
Then that lane becomes very, very dreadful to play up against. Now, with the
You did
new
that on purpose.
oh the is
The dreadful.
oh because Dredgeline.
Yeah, Dredgeline.
I didn't even realize that. That's pretty good though. Now with the new PBE patch, the bot lane has been shaken up quite a bit. We obviously don't really know what is going to be the tip top of the meta, but if these two teams in the bot lane can figure that out, I think it's going to be pretty valuable to have on your team. So again, a lot of the bot lane, I think specifically in this game, is going to be about adapting to the new bot lane meta. But also with Doubtful playing the Rengar, Rengar is going to be super, super good. So you have to ban it because if you
Ocean.
roll the ocean map, that's just Doubtful's paradise, man. It's
Dang.
it's pretty crazy. You have to ban the Rengar on this new patch, especially against Doubtful. But his Lee Sin is really good too. So
So
I don't
speaking
know.
of bot lane, really quick, what do you think about the little cave entrances on the bot and the top?
I gotta be honest. I don't think that those matter at
Really?
all.
Okay. I kind of figured they might not. They might just be really good TP areas.
I don't know. It just seems like a place where you don't want to be at any
Yeah.
point. The only
Yeah.
the
You
only
don't want to
exception
lock
is
yourself in.
it does give Bard more creativity with his portals,
That's
but
cool.
other than that, I don't think you ever want to go in there.
So unless you're a support, don't worry about them.
Yeah, like if you're Vayne and you find someone in there, you just win because you condemn
Now,
and
could
then
you
they'll hit
imagine
any
though, like a
wall.
kill bush with your whole entire team in there?
Oh, but there's not a bush in there.
Oh, there's not a bush. It's just a straight
It's just an open
half circle.
area. Yeah.
Huh.
So
Well,
uh
that's not even great then.
no, it's not great. Um it's just a bunch of terrain that you can work around. In bot lane 2v2s, I've found that it really, like, if you go in there, you're probably dead. Um,
Yeah, because it takes a lot of time to go in there and then a lot of time to get out.
the only instance is you can flash over that wall and then you can get out of vision and maybe you win. Like it just gives like a little bit more outplay potential in both bot lane and top lane, but I don't think it matters all that much in
Okay.
terms of like other things. Maybe you can get a
I guess
Zac
we'll
in
I
there and
guess
he
we'll
can gank
see. We
closer.
we'll see. I guess with
Yeah,
what teams come up with some creativity.
yeah. We'll have to see. I think the champions are going to be shaken up a lot down there. Um, I guess we didn't really talk about top lane. I think Extorted has a nice time up in that top lane, up against Taylor. Um, I think if Extorted can bully Taylor out, on some of the split push champions that I think are going to be pretty good with the new split push lethality item, Sanguine Blade, that gives you a ton of attack speed if you're by yourself, or if the opponent is by themselves rather. I think Extorted's going to have a pretty good time up there with his top lane, but that might change if Atlas shows up on his Olaf or something like that, and he just runs people over as he does on that champion. So it's going to be a pretty solid matchup. I think this is also going to be one of the
It's pretty
closest
close.
ones. Yeah. But with that, do you want to get into our predictions?
Yeah, I'll do mine first since you did yours
Yeah,
last
gotcha.
time. Man, I'm actually gonna take a Larian Gaming 3-1.
All right.
I think Alarian Gaming has a very solid team, and we've seen all these players on their own play at very high level, and I think it's enough.
Okay. I think that this is going to be the last one that we disagree on who's going to win. I think. But I think the Asian Invasion is going to win it. I think that they're going to win it.
I hate to even say it against my boys.
I think they're going to win it 3-0. I don't think Illyrian Gaming Black is going to take a game.
That's rough.
I think Asian Invasion is going to win it.
Okay.
The first game, Illyrian Gaming Black's going to come in. They're going to be like, "Ah, man, we're gonna show up. Atlas is too clean. We're not going to ban the Rengar. First game's going to be a Rengar stomp." They're going to be like, "Oh no, we have to ban Rengar.
ban the Rengar.
We have to ban Rengar."
He takes the Olaf.
Yeah.
that's,
Game
that's how it goes.
game 2, Rengar gets banned. Asian Invasion's like, okay, I'm gonna play Lee Sin then. Doubtful comes in, stomps everyone on Lee Sin. Illyrian Gaming Black's like, oh no. What do we do? I have no idea what to do. And then in that panic, Asian Invasion's gonna get the split push going, and then Extorted's gonna hard stomp game 3 on a split pusher, and then Klexo's gonna win all the team fights as well. That's my very specific prediction of how
Did
this
you
is
already
gonna
watch
go.
the game or something? Did I miss
I'm a
something?
time traveler, man.
Oh, of course. So mine's wrong then, obviously.
No, no,
No,
I think that a lot of it is going to come down to if uh, if you come prepared for the draft, and Asian Invasion have Thin Uncle Phil doing their drafts, and I think that he's going to be pretty good at that.
yeah, he's pretty solid.
Also, uh, I've been in on a little bit of the, well, I don't know. I guess I probably shouldn't say anything.
Yeah, don't say
I've been
anything.
playing a lot of
Uh,
PBE, and Klexo may or may not have been in my games as well, and he may or may not have destroyed me a bunch of times. But he's just way better than me at League of Legends anyway. But I think the PBE or the 9.23 I should say, because it's not going to be PBE come tomorrow. The 9.23 patch is going to be really, really big for these teams, and if Asian Invasion get the wrong read on it, then it could very easily be Alarian Gaming Black taking the 3-0, because I think that they match up in a very interesting way where if Atlas has his way around the map and he gets his Olaf and he gets an early jungle advantage, then I don't think Doubtful, with the way that he plays his champions, is going to have a good time coming back into that game. And while Asian Invasion do have a really solid team fight core and they can play team fights from behind, Atlas is just so good at extending leads. So if what I'm saying doesn't happen and Doubtful doesn't pop off on those two champions, then it might look very, very rough, and it'll probably lean more toward your prediction. But I think the Asian Invasion are going to come in swinging with this one, and be the only third seed to advance. I think that well, I guess I kind of spoiled it for the rest, but I don't think anyone's surprised. We'll get into it in a second, though.
oh man, how dare you, Smack? Give a little love.
I'm sorry. I guess I spoiled the other two matches for my predictions. Well, we have the game number too. But yeah, I have a lot of faith in Asian Invasion. They've shaped up quite a bit, and I think they are better than the other third seeds. I think they are the best third seed coming into it, and I think that they're going to show up in a really big way.
All right. So the next game is going to be Famous Gaming versus Zephyr Esports, which this one feels rough on the side of Famous. Obviously, they're versing a team that showed so much dominance and never really showed like that they couldn't handle the pressure. And, and Famous, we know, struggled a lot getting into third seed,
Yeah.
but they're, obviously they've had a lot of time. I've talked to them in my interview with with Milliant, I think it is.
Militant.
Militant, yeah. And he talked about, they're working very hard to better themselves, and they're always trying to get better, and they're always trying to scrim and just do whatever they can
Yeah.
to improve their play.
I don't know if we
So
mentioned it, but their opponents are Zephyr Esports. I don't
yeah, I
know.
did.
I don't know if we mentioned. Okay. Continue.
Yeah,
Sorry.
but yeah, so I mean, I obviously uh want to see them do the best that they can in this next up and coming game. And let's talk about it a little bit. So
Yeah.
you will be representing Zephyr in your win conditions,
Yeah.
and I will do Famous. So why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, for sure. So Zephyr have the the prodigal son from Mind Division now on their squad. They've got Nutty in the support position for themselves, and I'm sure that he's going to be looking for revenge against Famous Gaming as a
For kicking him out of playoffs the first time.
yeah. He's back. He's back and ready to take another spot over Famous. Um, and I think he's gonna come back with that vengeance and really show us something very interesting from the bot lane. I think that Zephyr's bot lane, while they are the newest members of this team that did make it into the playoffs, basically without their new bot lane, so they're kind of a little bit unproven, as we did just see them take losses to Rated R and Recon 5. So Nutty actually hasn't won a game on Zephyr yet. But I think this is where they start to pick up their stride, especially on the new patch. I think that Nutty's mid lane strengths are going to be pretty prevalent here with the way that the new support items work. You don't actually have to spend a lot of gold to make those items do more and get wards. You can spend it on damage and other things, and I think that Nutty's going to be pretty solid at that. And that's not even going over who I have on Zephyr in my top 20 list. Their top side is also no slouch either. They have Dupster, who I think is a super, super solid performer. Uh, Probably their best performer. And on my top 20 list, I actually had him as my best jungler out of Soul Division over my pet turtle. And I stand by that. I think that Dupster works really, really well around his team, specifically his top side, at getting in very tempered aggression and controlled plays going forward throughout the early game and mid game. He really likes to make sure that he knows where the enemy jungler is before going for plays, and that's why a lot of his plays do look super successful. And I think that that's a really valuable trait to have when the new neutral objectives in the Drake and the Rift Herald are going to be very prevalent in the meta. They're two Rift Heralds, and the Drakes are really, really important because if you get four of them, then you get that extra buff to your team, the Drake Soul, based on the map. And I think that Dupster comes into this with a pretty clear advantage over Famous Gaming, and um, as Famous, I think looked the shakiest of the third seeds coming into this. Um, as I think even in their last week, they didn't have their usual roster, right? They had I don't know.
I'm not 100% sure if they had their
Yeah,
full roster or not.
I don't know what their roster is coming into playoffs, which is also a pretty bad sign going into a best of five. But with all
What
that
is this
said,
up? This is up to date, right?
I think so. I'm not really sure. We'll have to see. That one's going to be a bit of a mystery of who is playing for Famous. Um,
Yeah.
but it's no mystery for Zephyr. We know which five players are going to be playing. We've got Wiederum, Dupster, Akata, Consumed, and Nutty. Uh, and also Akata is just super good too. Um, just to throw that one out there. And Wiederum has the comfort pick situation where you have to ban his Gangplanker Vladimir. So that's also pretty big for Zephyr.
All right, so let's go over the win conditions for Famous Gaming. First of all, stay composed. Uh, you guys are facing a very strong team.
Yeah,
Do not think it's over until the Nexus is gone. You guys have a best of 5 to adapt in. You need to use your adaptation to win this game. Zephyr is a team that will use flex picks to play mind games with you,
yeah,
but we've also seen flex picks play mind games with them. So abuse their style of play. You want to use your flex picks as well. I hope you have flex picks set up for these games because it's going to be very important. We saw Weedrum kind of at his worst come versus Recon 5 where they used flex picks to really abuse the top lane
that's true.
and it really hurt them because Weedrum's a big part of them converting their gold lead on the bot side and he sets up a lot of plays come late game. So when he's not there to give that extra damage or that extra setup, it becomes a lot harder for Zephyr to win games. So
It's
that's
true.
a big win condition. Also their bot lane, they're a new synergy. We don't know how much practice they've got in. We don't know, how much how good they are together yet because we haven't seen much of their play. So take that information and abuse that as well. Uh, Try and set up plays around your bot lane if you think that is the right decision. So if you can give your top laner a good matchup into Weedrum and your bot lane focus, I think these are the keys to beating Zephyr. But obviously it's just you got to keep calm and play it game by game.
Yeah, that's all very valid. Especially like
I think I just broke Zephyr's like
they did look very
strats.
shaky in week 7, and yeah, it's definitely true. They did look at their worst. Of course, that was the only those were the only 2 losses that they took the entire tournament so far.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
So Famous definitely do need to be able to capitalize on that and come into this with that boat of confidence here that they can do it, because Zephyr up until this point was the first seed in Soul Division. They were completely undefeated. Those were the first 2 losses that we ever saw out of this team,
And
and
now they have to fight their way through.
yeah. So Famous, they have to bring the fight. They have to do it.
Yeah.
They can't just crumble under the pressure, and they have to, like you said, the bot lane synergy between Consumed and Nutty, not quite maybe there yet. They have not been playing with each other for too long. If Famous have that, I don't. Again, I don't know what their roster is.
Yeah.
We'll have to
They
see
could be
what it is.
super scary coming
They
in,
could,
You never know.
yeah. I'm excited to see it. I think that this is definitely one to watch out for, especially to see if Zephyr have recomposed themselves, right? Because we after week 7, definitely on a downswing in terms of momentum. If they can recompose themselves, then that's going to be really big. Uh, New patch, new team, I guess for them. They have to come in knowing their stuff with the new patch, and all of the new drakes and rift heralds and
It
lethality
could be
items.
an information overload for some teams, and it could
Yeah,
be really stressful.
yeah. So yeah, uh, should we get into the predictions then?
Yeah. What are our predictions for the round three?
All right, I am going to take Zephyr to win this one. I think that it's going to be. Um, I think I'm gonna be really confident in this team. I'm gonna go 3-0 as well.
All right. I am actually going to take 3-1 for Zephyr. I think Famous can kind of exploit what we've talked about. I
Hmm.
think they can find a way within these games to adapt to some kind of way to find weakness. And for that reason, I think they can at least find one win with the
That's fair.
shakiness that Zephyr has brought.
And the
Uh,
shakiness of the new changes of everything too.
yeah. And so with all that, I think maybe we'll see a game taken.
Yeah, I think that's valid. I yeah. Thinking about that, I think I might go back and say that 3-1 for
Man, Smax is
for Asian
cheating over
Invasion.
here.
I think I'm gonna say
Oh,
for round 2 that I'm gonna change my vote to Asian Invasion
okay.
3-1. But I still think
All
that
right.
Zephyr's gonna go 3-0.
All right. So, do you want to talk about our last round for the first round of playoffs?
Yeah, we've got Akuma Blades versus Essentia Storm, and since we're alternating here, I'll let you do the win conditions for Akuma Blades here. Uh, this is looking like the toughest team, I would say, going into this round
Yeah.
of the playoffs. The team that was the first seed for the Life Division for a very long time, up until Seiko Saiyan stole their thunder there.
Yep. So you want me to start with Akuma?
Yeah, go ahead.
Awesome. So for Akuma, a very dominant team. We've seen them take down a lot of teams. They just have a ridiculous roster, and I think that is where their strength is. Their players in every lane have a ridiculous a skill cap. Uh, for their win conditions, I want to see Flukes keep to his usual, stay on a global champion, uh, whether it be the Galio, whether it be Twisted Fate, or even just a champion that is running TP to assert control, because they are so good at rotating into plays and setting up, and it brings a lot of their uh, early advantage, and they just steamroll it into the mid game.
Yeah.
And also, I want to see the top lane on really aggressive picks. I think that Ligote is probably one of the most aggressive top laners we have, and he will take a fight. He will find advantage, and for that, I would put him on a lot of aggressive picks. And I mean, obviously, their bot lane usually plays well, so for me, it's more about keep doing what you're doing and finding the tempo. We
Yeah.
saw them kind of fall short versus Seiko Sands, even though they were doing a ridiculous job at defending. They did lose early, so just make sure we're keeping in mind that early game can shift in a lot of different ways. So be prepared to play from behind. Do not think that you're going to get an early lead on these teams, underrate them, and then come out losing. Essentia Storm has some really impressive early game, and we've seen them, show a lot of teams how good their early game is.
You're stealing my thunder. That's what I was going to talk about.
All right, all right. So with that, I have given the win conditions to Akuma Blades. We're moving over to Smax.
Man, Essentia Storm's early game. It's looking really, really good. Actually, though, it
Wow,
is.
wow, you just stole my answer.
It actually is.
Yeah.
Especially now that Jweb is kind of found his place on this team, he's been
Mm-hmm.
able to slot into the same spot that we saw Tea Time really put to good use. Um, as the kind of the Rek'Sai team, as it were, uh, getting those early jungle advantages is going to be really, really big when you can get those Drakes started up really early. As if you are the team to get the first 4 Drakes, then you do get that really big buff. And I think that this is a team that can really start taking advantage of that quite well. They have a lot going for them. They have Laxon down in the bot lane as well, who we both had on our top 20 list as one of the star performers from the support role as well.
Mm-hmm.
Something that I think is really valuable on this team is that uh, they have got Hermie up in the top side, who we've seen play weak side champions that transition into team fights quite well. Specifically, his Kennen is really, really solid. I think that the top lane matchup is going to be really one to watch out for on if Hermie can play these range champions and be bullies up against Legoat, then I think that could actually swing in Essentia's favor up in the top side. But something that I think is really interesting is that I think both of the top laners are going to be playing sort of a split push style. I think both of these guys are going to be really good at abusing the new Sanguine Blade with the split push bonuses. Um, I think that it might favor Legoat James, but if Hermie comes out and surprises, then I think that's going to be really, really big for Essentia Storm on a lot of the champions that I think are going to be really good at that. Quinn is one of them that I think can abuse that item very, very well. If you can play Kennen, you can probably play Quinn in the lane too. Lane Tristana is pretty big for that. Um, a lot of champions that can move around and knock down those turrets very quickly are going to be abusing the Sanguine Blade, and I think the Hermes going to slot into that quite well. And with Diamond and Laxon in the bot lane, I would be hard pressed to say that they were better in team fights. Um, Laxon is Laxon has played a different role in team fights than Brash has. Brash has played a lot of enchanters that buff up both Lunar and Fluke. And Laxon has been taking a lot of the front seat in team fights, especially that Swain game that we saw. He dealt the most damage. A lot of like engaged champions as well that really get picks off. So there's a little bit of a clash of styles there from the bot lane, where Lunar really wants to be getting into the team fights, buffed up by Brash, and Laxon and Diamond are really a lot more about finding picks. If they can do that a lot better and get the bot lane advantage by getting picks down there with the help of Dweb as well, I think that is going to look pretty solid for Essentia Storm. So definitely want to be looking for picks using your jungle support synergy, so you can get those advantages with the Drakes and stuff like that. I think that's going to be really big for Essentia. Yeah.
No, definitely. So with that, I want to hear it from you. What is your prediction coming into this match?
All that being said, I am going to give it 3-0 for Akuma. Akuma is so good. I still have them as my first seed, as my first favorite to win the whole thing. Even them being second seed doesn't really shake that in my mind. If the way that my predictions go anyway, they won't have to deal with Sicko Sands if Dawn Revenant cleans them up for them. And OTA Glacials are nowhere to be seen either. So that's all the teams that have beat them so far. But yeah, I think Akuma is still looking like the cleanest 5-man squad in their team fights, in their early game, in their global presence, and like you're talking about as well, Legoat James I think is going to slot into this meta quite well, playing weak side up in the top with the new split push mechanics and how that works, and especially the Rift Herald as well. Getting top lane priority is going to be really big at getting both of those Rift Heralds if you can manage to do so. And if you have top priority, then your jungler can go down, take the Drakes while you're doing Rift Herald. You can get them by yourself even. So that's going to be really big. And I think Legoat James is going to be very key at doing that with the rest of the squad.
Yeah, so for my predictions, I'm actually going to take it 3-1 Akuma. And the 1 being because Tea Time is a little genius behind the scenes. And I feel like he's going to whip out something that Akuma might not be ready for. He does a lot of prep work for his team, and I believe that he will show that game day.
Yeah, that's pretty hype. I'm looking forward to this matchup a lot too. All 4 of them really, but the crazy thing is that both Akuma and Zephyr both took pretty interesting losses, could you say, coming into the playoffs in week 7.
It's definitely been a shaky last week of games for these teams.
It really has.
And because SBK we saw even have a really even though that game turned out to be a win on their side due to unfortunate events, SBK looked terrible in that game, and they're a first seed coming in, so it could be a shaky playoffs and what we think, Smax.
Yeah.
But I do know that if we tell Essentia Storm they won't win, they'll actually win, and if we tell them to win, they'll lose. So I think if I'm saying this, maybe Essentia pulls it out. They do the old normal of doing the opposite of what I say. Either way, I think we have a bunch of exciting games. Whether you're a fan of the team or not, I think that you should be watching all these games because you could see this team come to finals You never know.
Yeah. It's gonna be very, very hype week of PRL
You know,
in the playoffs.
I was super interesting when I did a bunch of interviews. It was super interesting that a lot of teams weren't even scouting yet.
Yeah.
Uh, Especially like top seed teams, they haven't even been scouting yet. And for me, that was like, that's crazy because you're coming in, like blind.
Hmm.
So we'll see what prep work teams have put in
Yeah.
and see if it shows in their gameplay.
Yeah. But with that being said, we do have some questions here that were sent in while we were recording. I've got it up on my browser here. We've got a few interesting ones here. My favorite one of the bunch here is from Akuma Fluke. He asks, "How is Smax's hair always so nice?"
I
And
think he just wakes up like that, by the way.
I kind of do. It's mostly genetics, honestly. My mom has really, really nice, thick, dark hair. So
It
I
just never moves too, which
I
is like
got that.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's very long. It's actually a lot longer than it looks. It's very like bunched up and curly. If I let it do that, but
So Smax, I actually just got a question in from a DM.
wait, we're not done
Uh,
talking about my hair.
no, we're done talking about your hair. I got a DM asking if Senna will be available for playoffs this week.
The answer is yes. Senna is
Yes,
going to be available at the
it's gonna be
start
awesome.
of the playoffs. So starting Thursday, teams can be picking Senna, which is very, very interesting because I think Senna is how do you put this? Batshit crazy. Senna is very, very good.
And
Teams should be
that
playing Senna.
question, just so everyone knows, that question came in from Brash, so we can give him a shout out for asking that question. Thank you, Brash. We know you're gonna be playing Senna,
Yes, we do.
and I'm super excited if he plays it. That's gonna
Yeah,
be super cool.
especially considering a little
It's a
bit of
super
a
flex pick
yeah.
too.
I've played a lot of Senna. Brash, I know is an Enchanter player. Enchanter Senna is really, really good. So essentially, what's going to happen is you have the new AD item, where you have an AD spell thieves essentially. You get the Sanguine Blade, which is the new really cheap, or not Sanguine Blade. You
Mhm.
get the
The other one,
Umbral Glaive. That's
yeah.
really cheap. You get the blackout for wards as well. 2,400 gold lethality item gives you 50 AD. Very, very good. From there, you go Enchanter. You go for the Athene's Unholy Grail, which is I think the best item in the entire game on her,
Yes,
and
it is.
also Senna is the best champion in the entire game that builds Athenes.
Hmm.
If you're not building that item, even if you're not support, even if you're like mid or your bot or something, you still want Athenes because it's so good. It's ridiculous how good that item is. It works on your
Yeah,
global ult as
your
well.
Q is always doing one or the
Yeah,
other. So
or
your Q or
both.
your ult, I mean, like you're constantly doing it. So
Yeah, that it's a crazy crazy champion. Um, but yes, that's going to be really really big. If teams are good at Senna, and I'm thinking that Brash is going to be good at Senna,
oh,
definitely going to be seeing a lot of priority.
great about that new item too is that it's gonna get that blackout ability where
Yeah,
you're hitting that ward. You're getting a free sweeper without even
right.
using your sweep.
And
So
they buffed it, so ranged champions kill wards in one
hmm
shot now,
instantly.
including
So
Senna.
that's going to be super exciting. Obviously, they did a lot of the patchwork and a lot of the preseason based around what they want champions like Senna to adapt to in the meta. So she was a big inspiration for the patch,
Yeah,
I'm sure, and the new items.
yeah, it's gonna be huge for Senna. She's gonna be showing up in like every single
She's going to
draft,
be
I think,
showing up in the next patch notes as nerfed
probably.
coming soon.
Yeah. So so that's that
Do you think?
question.
Well, now that we're on the subject, actually, do you think how much ban do you think she's gonna get in this upcoming week?
If she gets through a single draft, I'm gonna be mad. I'm gonna say, what are you guys doing? This champion should be in every game.
Oh, so are you saying that's how Essentia gets their one win against Akuma?
I don't know, maybe.
It's possible.
I don't know. Senna should show up in every draft, and if she doesn't, then I think I think you guys are doing it wrong, and you'll hear it from me as well on the analyst desk.
Yeah,
I
well,
will
it could
call
be
you out.
why didn't you pick Kale? And now it turns into why didn't you pick Senna?
Yeah, Kale's still good, by the way.
Oh,
Um,
Kale is still good.
Kale is still good. You should still be picking Kale. Uh, but yeah, now
How is
Senna
scale?
is the one.
I know you did a little bit of PBE action. How is scaling comps on the PBE?
Well, not to like boost my ego too much, but I didn't lose a single lane that I played against randoms because it's not match made well.
Yeah,
The PBE doesn't
it's
know that I'm a
yeah.
diamond player.
Hmm.
So I won every lane that I went up against. So I didn't really get that much
You're right. It
into
wouldn't give you
scaling.
that much indication.
Against in the in-houses that we did, where I did lane against like Klexo and a few other people, um, we didn't really get to scale either because it was a similar situation where Klexo is way better at League of Legends than me. So I didn't get to scaling then either. But yeah, I haven't really seen games go that long. We have I didn't see the Elder spawn at all. Um, but I
What time
will
does it
say
spawn at now?
it
Is it
spawns
saying?
the drakes. Okay, so whichever team gets 4 drakes, they get the dragon soul, and then the elder drake spawns from then on.
Gotcha.
So it could be after the first 7 drakes if it goes like 3 each, and then one person gets the last
Oh,
drake.
so Drake's infinitely spawn now.
No, no.
Like no, like I shouldn't say infinitely, but until both teams also
Right, yeah. So you have
get 4.
one team has to have 4 drakes before the elder spawns.
So max 7 Drakes.
Max 7 for elemental. But it's a minimum of 4. So
Yeah.
it could be very early in the game. But we didn't really play too much. So
Hmm.
um, I don't know. I'm excited to get into that. I think even if there isn't that much scaling, I think Kale just comes online so early.
She hasn't really early game
Yeah.
damage numbers, so.
So I think the Kale is still very good. Um, maybe a little
Yeah,
bit less
what about without
so.
her club though?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Lethal Tempo's pretty good on her.
Hmm.
Um, maybe with the new Umbral Glaive, or not Umbral Glaive, the other one, bladed
Sanguine Blade?
Sanguine Blade. With that one being a new split push item, maybe that makes her worse. But we'll have to see. Um,
Definitely.
but anyway,
Back to more questions.
we have a few other questions. Some of these are kind of memes. We have
A lot of them are memes.
the same question. The Smax hair one is definitely not a meme. That's a real question. I know. People are very curious about that. But we've got the same question of all-star player. Like if you had to build a team
Pick,
of
yeah.
any players, then do that. We like that question still. We're gonna wait until Plays is here because I know that if we answered that question without Plays, then he'd be upset.
I mean, we know it's smack talk right now,
Yeah.
but we'd also get a lot of smack talk if he
Oh,
came back and he knew we answered
we
it.
could since this is the last Smax Talk episode, we could make a Smax Talk one, and then next time we do a Plays podcast one.
That's some dangerous territory, my
It
friend.
is. Maybe that's a bad idea.
Well, let's
I don't
see
know.
what else we got in here.
Yeah, we've got a few other things. What?
Lexo
Yeah,
asked what match or series will be most exciting. I think we kind of went over that. We think Dawn Revenant versus uh,
Sicko.
Famous Gaming. No, Sicko Sands. I'm sorry. Famous Gaming. I don't know why I keep saying Famous Gaming. Dawn Revenant versus Sicko Sands will probably be the most exciting series we're gonna watch.
I think that's
In our
definitely the
opinions.
closest one.
Yeah,
Whether or not
I
that's
think
the
it's
exciting
the
one,
most exciting for me. I think it's because it's so close is what makes it so exciting.
it might just be because I think all 4 of them are going to be exciting. I'm just excited to watch all of them. As far as our predictions go, I think it's either that one or round 2, where our predictions are very polarizing. With 3-1 for Illyrian and 3-1 for Asian Invasion.
Hmm.
That one also could be very exciting. But yeah, I think Dawn Revan and Sicko Saiyans is going to be the closest one. As far as like the lower matchup between 2 teams, I think I'd probably take Zephyr and Famous because I want to see Nutty play up against Famous. I think that's going to be pretty funny. Um, But yeah, I think I'd probably agree with you for Don Revenant Sicko Saiyans. I think that's going to be the closest.
So Turtle says predictions on winners of the first round playoffs, which we went over.
Yeah.
Um, but this one's nice. What possible upsets do you think could happen?
I think the most likely upsets probably come from the ones that we went over where our predictions are different. Uh,
I think Sicko is probably the biggest upset.
they're probably the most likely. Well, I guess because Asian
Well,
Invasion over Lair and Gaming
potential.
Black
Actually,
is also an
I
upset.
gotta say Essentia Storm. Essentia Storm has, I think, the closest chance of getting an actual like ridiculous upset. So for me, that one's the biggest chance of upset
Hmm.
and the biggest upset in general.
That would be the biggest upset. I think Asian Invasion over Lair and Gaming Black would also still be an upset since the third seed beating a second. Does that still count? Because
I
these teams are
I
really
guess.
close.
Yeah, that's my thing. Is Dawn Revenant and Sicko Sands and the Land Gaming Black and Asian Invasion feel so close as
Yeah,
teams. Uh, that's why I picked Essentia Storm because, if they did beat Akuma Blaze, that would be a huge upset,
that's true.
and I think it's something that's actually possible. Um,
Yeah,
versus like famous, I feel like they'd be a lot harder to take down Zephyr.
yeah, I agree. I think round three is the least likely for an upset. Um, I think the most likely for an upset on paper is round two, but round four would be a massive upset if Essentia can pull it together. Uh, but yeah, I think Zephyr Esports and Famous Gaming have a pretty interesting clash of styles where Zephyr, I think, comes out on ahead in every situation, whereas Essentia Storm clash up with Akuma Blades in a very interesting way where Essentia can pull out ahead if they do manage to get the early advantage with Jweb and then have a very
Hmm.
pick oriented play style, which I think is possible, like you're saying. So yeah, I the answer to the question though, the most likely upset, I think is round two for Asian Invasion.
Definitely.
Um,
So we will definitely get back. I'm sure Smax will possibly be around for the alien question
yeah, for sure.
that you guys keep trolling us with every episode. We're getting to it. Please hold tight. Uh,
Okay, I'll have one more question from me. So we've got we've got the finals, or the quarterfinals. I don't
mhm.
remember which team gets to pick first. I think it's Recon Five.
SBK
Oh, SPK picks first.
undefeated
Oh, right. Yeah, you're right. So
due
so
to a technicality.
so if well,
Which team will they
which
pick out
team
of
will
our
they pick?
predictions?
Yeah, exactly. Which
Out
team
of
do you
our
think that they will
predictions.
pick?
Out of our predictions, let's go over our predictions really quick.
Yeah.
So
So
you
we'll
predicted
say
Don
that
Revenant.
you can pick from either of the two teams from the first two rounds, but
Okay.
for the second two rounds, you can pick between Zephyr and Akuma,
Okay. So
since those are the only teams
I
we both predicted to win. You know,
well because SBK
they can't pick a Lariat, can
I
they?
don't think SBK is going to pick either Zephyr or Akuma.
I don't think so either.
So I think they pick Sicko Sans.
Really?
Yeah, because I feel like their bot lane is way more dominant than Sicko's.
What if Dawn Revenant wins? Do they pick Dawn Revenant?
Possibly because we talked about them kind of having like, equal matching bot lanes, in my opinion.
Something that I think
Uh,
is really interesting about Dawn Revenant versus Sicko Saiyans is I keep hammering down this point that Arakra is very good at team fight disruption,
yeah.
and SPK Embers are the team fight team,
Hmm.
which I think would be a very interesting matchup to watch. But I think that it might be Dawn Revenant favored.
I mean, SBK might not even care. They might just be like,
Maybe
yeah,
not.
roll it for us.
Yeah, maybe they're super confident in their team fights anyway that they still go into it
When I
with that.
talk to SBK, they seem pretty confident about being able to play any team and not wanting to fear any teams coming in. So I can't see SBK being worried about anybody. I don't know if they're going to want to be like, yeah, we'll verse what seems to be the other best teams in the org.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna pick Zephyr or Akuma. I think that would be kind of trolling.
But it's really interesting because like if they don't pick them, then we're gonna see one of those incredible teams go up against like
Hmm.
these teams are gonna meet, and it's gonna be so fun.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Can
Akuma
is
can't
SBK
really go next.
allowed to pick Ilarion?
No, they
Okay.
cannot pick someone from their group.
Okay, gotcha.
So
That
they
that
if
that's
Asian
true until the
so
finals, right?
if Ilarion wins, they're definitely going with the Sicko slash Don Revenant. But they also might pick Asian Invasion if Ilarion.
If Ilarion loses.
Yeah.
Well, if Ilarion loses, then Asian Invasion would have defeated the second seed in body division. You think Asian
hmm
Invasion would beat the first seed in body division? Or will we just have to wait and
Will
see?
they be the the body division kings? I don't know. There's a lot that we have to wait and see. Oh man, because like Go Next Gaming can't verse Akuma Blades. We know that,
Or Sicko if they make it.
or Sicko. So that would like basically lock them in Zephyr.
If
Um,
SBK picks Asian Invasion,
if
then yeah.
SBK was to pick the other team,
Right.
uh, and then Team Fish Taco can. It's like that's
Well,
why it's so there's
Recon
so
5
many
would be the second
situations.
pick, right?
Recon 5 is the second pick, yes.
So they'd probably pick the other one from round 2. Or round 1 or 2, right? Probably.
Recon 5,
They can't
when
pick Zephyr
talking
and
to
they're not
them,
picking
they
Akuma.
have extreme confidence, and they say they don't care who they have to take down to get to the first spot.
Sounds like a common trend.
Yeah, so I think everyone just wants to play everyone, and
Fair enough.
we will see, Smax. That's all I can say for you. We
We
will
will
see.
see. Ah man,
I'll be watching.
yeah, I'm gonna be watching all of them. I will be away for Friday, but I'll still be watching on my phone probably.
Your
Maybe.
family time.
I mean, I won't be. I don't know. I'm definitely gonna watch the VOD.
I
That's
always,
for
if I
sure.
can't watch it, I just hit the VODs up.
Yeah,
I'll chat with the people that already put stuff in
yeah,
just to make myself feel like I'm cool.
yeah. It's gonna be super good. But yeah, you guys will be seeing us throughout the week as well. As I guess we can announce it now, we are going to be having an analyst desk for post game
Woohoo!
post game analysis for every single day. Um, I will be there for the Thursday one as long as well as the liftoff as well. I said as well like 8 times.
as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm gonna be doing the liftoff
and
and then the analyst desk for that day too.
yeah, and
And Sloth is
Smax
gonna be there
will
too.
be your host for the analyst desk too.
Yeah. Not
So he
Friday,
will be
but for the
hosting.
other ones.
He will be hosting either 2 to 4 of us analyzing the games after they are played,
Yeah.
and we think this could be an awesome opportunity for you guys to get a better idea of what's going on in the games and what the other teams need to look for moving on.
Yeah, it's gonna be really good. I've been wanting to do an analyst desk for quite some time, but yeah, it's gonna be pretty awesome. But until then, we will see you guys at Phoenix Rising League NA. Uh, is that right? That's the Twitch, right? Am I just dumb? Did I just say the wrong thing? No,
Wow.
it's Phoenix Rising League TV. NA is the Twitter. I'm mixing up the links. Phoenix Rising League
Ooh.
TV. That's the Twitch channel. We'll be seeing you guys there on Thursday for our first matchup of the week. It'll be 6:15 EST for the liftoff, and then the games begin at 7. And then we'll have our analyst desk between the games as well. It's gonna be crazy. Do you wanna give any shout outs or anything before we head out, Sloth?
I just want to shout out all the teams that are making it to playoffs, giving us these amazing games to watch. I want to shout out Mighty Ray. He sets up so much. He does a lot of work for us, just to give us the games to watch. We should be really appreciative of what he does for the community. Shout out to Smax for helping me get together this podcast and keep it going while Plays is gone. And shout out to Plays. Even though he's not here, I took on his responsibilities, and you do not understand what this man is responsible for until you're in his shoes. So be be super happy that you have someone like Plays who's setting up this entire organization with the help of Canadian, and he just does so much for the community.
Yeah, I appreciate him a lot, especially for letting me hijack his podcast and Microsoft Paint
Yeah,
all
and
over his logo.
scribble all over his name.
Yeah,
uh,
it's been a blast. Hopefully, we get to do.
Plays will be here again
Yeah,
next week.
yeah,
So we'll or I think we're gonna do off week for
for
Thanksgiving. Maybe
Thanksgiving.
we'll do something. We never know. We'll maybe
Yeah,
we'll announce anything that we are going to do. But plays will be here the next time you see us.
yeah,
So guys, have a good have good games on the Rift. I'm super excited.
yeah.
Let's get ready for playoffs.
Yeah, I am too. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. I hope you've been liking the hour or so episodes rather than the 6. Where we are going to be trying to cut down on those
Well, if you do
for the
like them,
playoffs.
just like below, and it'll give us a good indicator.
Yeah, true. But yeah, I've been blown away by how many people have been watching our SmaxTalk episodes. But yeah, it's been a blast. Thank you so much to Plays for letting me hijack that, and we'll be right back to your regularly scheduled program of Plays podcast in about 2 weeks. Like Alex said, we might have content in between then, but we'll have to see because we're not going to do anything PRL
I
for
don't
that
think there's
week.
something. I don't think there's anything really coming up
Yeah,
right at the moment. But you never know. We are all pretty creative guys. We'll figure out
yeah,
something, and if we do, we'll record it for you.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, until then, watch out for me on PBE. My PBE name is Scooby Smax. Uh, I've been
Yeah, that's
playing some
great.
weird stuff.
I can't believe you got that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But watch out for my interesting support picks in PBE. If you get me in the bot lane, I'm sorry. Uh,
He's straight trolling on there too.
I absolutely am. But yeah, again, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for the questions as well. We did a little bit last minute today, but we appreciate you guys so much for sending those in. It's been a blast. Thank you for complimenting my hair. I don't get enough of that. My ego needs to be inflated so that my hair can retain its form and shape. But yeah, we'll be seeing you
And
guys on Thursday, 6:15 EST. You do not want to miss it. I'm so excited to get into those. It's gonna be a great,
yeah,
great
keep
time.
up the Smax talk. That's all you gotta say. Keep up the
Yeah,
Smax talk.
I'll be there for sure. I hope you guys are there to join us. We'll be seeing you then. Have a good night, everyone.